Hello and welcome to NewsClick. Today we are going to talk about appropriation of Ambedkar by the right wing. To discuss the issue we have with us Anil Tentumde, civil rights activist from Mumbai. Welcome to NewsClick. So if we look at the right wing today, it seems to be appropriating Ambedkar in a big way. What was Ambedkar's view on the caste system and what was his views on RSS? Why is RSS and the right wing specifically try to appropriate him?
You see, it is not RSS alone. All the ruling class parties have been after Ambedkar, and it all started after mid 60s. Okay, and just to trace the chronology of it, basically the kind of political economic policy that were pursued by the ruling classes in this country created that kind of situation that electoral politics became very competitive and the, the importance of the vote bank thereby came in. Okay. Now, vote banks in India, like country, is available only in terms of caste communities. Dalit being something like a very substantial 16% of the population, and seemingly weird around Ambedkar, it becomes a very cheap, a very inexpensive kind of proposition for any political party to woo them. And Ambedkar becomes a leading kind of icon. If you build up Ambedkar, then the entire Dalit masses could be actually after that, after your party. So it process started right from the Congress strategy to induct Ambedkar into the Constituent Assembly and the Nehru cabinet. But the experiment did not succeed. Ambedkar had to come out of the cabinet, etc. That is the history. But thereafter, when he died, for almost 2 decades, he was ignored. At least 1 decade. And as I said, mid 60s it all started because that time there was a big countrywide agitation for the land launched by the Dalits under leadership of Dada Saheb Gaikwad. And that alarmed the ruling classes. So that time ruling classes meaning that was the Congress party, and these people were not in the scene. When Hindutva, for Hindutva camp, Ambedkar was an anathema because he spoke so harshly against Hinduism and all their gods and goddesses, and ultimately actually embraced Buddhism. Now what they see Buddhism to be something like a part of Hinduism, etc., that was not the understanding. Savarkar, for instance, denigrated Buddhism because he thought that with Buddhism coming in, it incapacitated Hinduism. Okay, so they had that kind of conception and they went by that. So Ambedkar was not a palatable persona for Hindutva camp for long many years. So when actually, if you trace it out, when it all started, because all these people, all these developments, etc., were not clicking for BJP and RSS. Without Dalits, they would not be anywhere, they realized. And when Bala Saheb Devras, the lowest profile Sar Sangha Chalak, came in, actually he did this kind of policies. He silently co-opted Ambedkar into the Prata Smaraniya and followed it for quite some time. It was all going as a kind of silent work. And then they came out in somewhere in 82, 83 with the Samarasta Manch, the social harmony platform kind of thing. And they started sort of that kind of work. And they succeeded to a great extent. Not that, because by that time, on the other hand, the Dalit movement actually was dilapidated. They got fragmented hopelessly. And that came handy for those people. So therefrom this co-optation process started.
So if you look at the constitutional formation process also, RSS itself demanded, RSS did not believe in the Indian constitution while it wanted constitution based on the Manu Smriti. So there's a quite contrast between the two of them. So how does this churning within the RSS start?
Yeah, initially they did not believe in anything thing, but later on they realized that RSS is a very flexible kind of body. Their core remains intact, but the appearances and all these hydra-headed kind of organization that they created, they could speak in many voices. Okay, so they realized that that kind of approach towards constitution, towards Ambedkar, towards the Indian nation, and all kinds of things are not going to work. So they after they started sort of slowly changing the stance. So earlier time it is clear that they did not believe in, firstly they did not believe in Constituent Assembly or somebody writing a constitution. They said that the constitution already exists for the Indian nation, so there is nothing, the new constitution was required.
Can you throw some light on Ambedkar's idea of the economic issues or Ambedkar's idea of economic democracy and what was view of right wing on it?
Ambedkar, as regards economic policies are concerned, there should not be any confusion that Ambedkar wanted socialism. He did have reservations about the Marxian concept of socialism, etc. But that apart, socialism, actually you must know that the first party Ambedkar floated was the Indian Independent Labour Party. Okay, so that again he projected himself to be the working class leader. Okay, and actually that boomerang, when the Cripps mission came and they submitted a report, that time Cripps asked him that my mandate is not to talk to something like a working class leader. Because that time there was no one to represent Dalit, and because of that they faced a debacle during the Cripps negotiation. Okay, this is this history. Later on the eve of Constituent Assembly, he had written a book called States in Minorities. Right, States in Minorities is something like a state socialism agenda. Almost everything what could be practicable during those days actually is written there. If even that kind of thing is followed, no problem. That actually Ambedkar was inspired by the Fabian kind of socialism, etc. But that is the treatise of that kind of socialism. It almost gives a blueprint. So there should not be any confusion about Ambedkar being a socialist. Okay, and now that would not go well with the Hindutva camp. Actually, basic core ideology of Hindutva, and people do not still sort of put fingers on that, is that they want to recreate the same paradigm that existed in India, a rule of elitist people who would rule the country, who would give the directions, and everybody would be subservient to them, and they would be slaughtered at the various scale. It is akin to the caste system actually. So this is the way they wanted to recreate. The socialism or all these kinds of ideas, howsoever they might create the noises around, are not compatible with what they stand for.
Can you throw some light on what was Ambedkar's view on the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh?
There are no recorded views about on RSA Ambedkar from Ambedkar on RSS. Okay, but there are references, indirect references as to in South of Pakistan, for instance, Ambedkar says that if Hindu Rashtra comes into being in India, it would be the greatest calamity. Okay, so that kind of references are there. In relation to, there are plethora of references about the Hinduism anyway, everybody knows that. But about Hindutva politics per se, there are certain such kind of references in Southern Pakistan. Now RSS claims that Ambedkar visited their camp, Ambedkar met headgear. Hengdi says that okay, he was a praise for Sangha. All these things that appears to be their fabrication because there are no counter references anywhere. Okay.
So this would be my last question. If you look at Ambedkar's writing on caste and RSS understanding of caste, they are quite contradictory. So is it just the electoral benefits that RSS is trying to appropriate Ambedkar, or is it something else also?
See, RSS meaning our entire Sangha Parivar has to reach somewhere, and they cannot sublimate from this stage to that stage. So this is the going to be process. Now the process is laid out. The electoral politics, however they ignore it, they cannot. So this is the process to reach there. When they reach with the sufficient majority, etc., actually they have given sufficient indication this time itself. When they actually got the majority, they उनको एक तरह की मस्ती चढ़ गई है टाइप. लोग बोलते हैं सड़क पे कि उनको मस्ती चढ़ गई. So that what they are going to do after getting the absolute majority in both the houses, etc., is clear. They would they would change the constitution, probably install something like a presidential system. These are all logical kinds of things that one can expect them to do. So ultimately, because the entire RSS believes in that kind of fascist paradigm, and Hindutva paradigm also matches with that. So there is nothing that you can sort of one needs to compare with those kinds of things. So one leader, one nation, one language, one rashtra, and all that kind of thing. So they would create something like a rashtra diksha and that presidential kind of system and do that. But Dalit votes, etc., are in process. After they done with that, then they whatever happens to Dalit, that stands for imagination.